recording. Okay, so let's get into it. All right, so I hope you guys can see. Let me test, make sure you can see the screen here. So what we're looking at, this is the position of the American Dietetic Association on vegan and vegetarian diets. And just for those of you guys who aren't aware, the American Dietetic Association is the world's largest group of health and nutrition professionals, which are dietitians and physicians in the entire world. So it is the largest group of the largest amount of data in the entire world compiled, and this is their conclusion, depending on the largest amount of data that we have available at our disposal in the world today. It is the position of this world's largest group of health and nutrition and dietetics professionals in the world, not health, wellness, health mama blogs, not nutritional therapists, which is literally just it's like a piece of toilet paper. Like you can go on any website, and to become certified as a nutritional therapist is literally, you can take a free course and become a nutritional therapist. It literally means nothing. I mean, it's the equivalent of toilet paper, credentials. But so this is the world's largest group of clinicians and professionals. Dietitians are PhDs, they are doctors as well as physicians. So their statement is that it's the position that vegetarian or total vegan diets are nutritionally adequate, may provide health benefits in the prevention and treatment of certain diseases. Well-planned vegetarian diets are appropriate for individuals during all stages of the life cycle, including pregnancy, lactation, infancy, childhood, adolescence, and for athletes. And I want to emphasize the athletes part, because for anyone who's not aware, I want you all to go and look up this new film coming out called The Game Changers, and it is changing the game. The athletic world is the pinnacle, the apex of human performance. And for them to come out and say that total vegan diets are appropriate, and not only that, but optimal for athletic performance is beyond you cannot overstate this. And the reason why, there is infinite amount of factors as to why. Because a plant-based diet, especially a whole total vegan plant-based diet, number one, it reduces inflammation, it improves recovery time, it improves arterial circulation and blood flow. All of these things which animal foods take a toll on, they take a detriment to. It improves blood flow, it reduces your risk, it totally eliminates your production of IGF-1, which is produced by animal protein intake. And it increases circulation, increases oxygen, which increases cellular respiration, which again reduces inflammation. And it increases your total nutrition circulating through your bloodstream, which is total nutrition for your cells, which improves mental clarity, it improves mental and cognitive performance, it improves athletic performance, in other words, muscular performance. It improves every aspect, it improves nervous system function. And so that's why, we could get into this as a separate point, but I do want to show you guys The Game Changers. It's so profound. That I think everyone needs to understand what's going on with this. I will get back to the actual study, but I want to show you guys this. I want to show you what's going on with the Game Changers. But again, so most of the recent Olympic athletes, many gold medal Olympic athletes, and I know you're going to be like, oh, well, we're talking about long-term, 15, 20 years out. So we'll get into that, but so many of the Olympic gold athletes are vegan or at least vegetarian. And the reason why is because this information is the stuff that you're not getting like from the paleo blogs. We're talking the highest level of clinical nutritional science here, the highest peak pinnacle of athletic performance. So let me make sure I've got my speaker on here so I can show this to you guys real quick, because it's so important for you guys to understand. Let me make sure I got this going.
I was really expecting it to end my career.
When I made the transition, I wasn't sure if I was going to survive.
What we eat has a major impact on our health in every way we can measure. Today's blood and yesterday's blood.
To think that these elite fighting machines were eating mainly plants went against everything I'd been taught about nutrition.
There's no one that can relate to that better than I do because I've lived in that world.
I'm in it just to rewrite history, cause I'm in the mood to label us the leaders of the new school. This ain't for the radio, can't find this on YouTube. This the type of killer that these critics ain't used to.
So that's just the first teaser. What is going on behind the scenes of this film? And it's produced by James Cameron, who is also, I think he was involved with the help of the production of What the Health. He's going to be producing 3 more sequels to the Avatar movie, and he's going to be touching a lot more on the health or the ecological and environmental aspects as well. But so he's helping produce this one as well. And what they're mainly addressing here is athletic performance, particularly blood flow and circulatory performance, as well as athletic recovery, again, which is all addressed primarily by the vegan diet, the vegan total whole foods plant-based vegan diet. And so let's get back to the study here. Split screen, okay. So a vegetarian diet, we know what the vegetarian diet is. This article reviews the current data related to key nutrients for vegetarians, including protein, omega-3 fatty acids, iron, zinc, iodine, calcium, vitamins D and B12. A vegetarian diet can meet current recommendations for all of these nutrients. In some cases, supplements or fortified foods can provide useful amounts of important nutrients, such as B12. And many people on your thread are all talking a bunch of BS about B12. So the facts about B12 is not found, it does not come from animal foods. It comes from cyanobacteria produced by cyanobacteria. Cyanobacteria are found naturally in soil and water. The reason why the modern diet of basically everyone around the world is deficient in B12 is because we now sanitize our water and we now wash all of our fruits and vegetables. We don't just eat stuff straight out of the ground the way that the animals do, and that's why they're getting the B12. Although the soil is deficient in B12 because of our tilling forms of agriculture and all of the processes that we use in producing our foods. So the animals are actually deficient in B12 as well. So all factory farm animals are supplemented with B12 in order so that they can get adequate levels of B12. When we get to the actual clinical outcomes. So this is a specific, fairly recent study, 2014, about the influence on whole foods vegan diet with just including whole foods such as nori, algae, and wild mushrooms, and the selected blood parameters of B12 levels, as well as a few other levels like vitamin B6, folic acid, zinc, creatinins, things like that. So they took certain metrics for that. And basically the results, they compared those with vegans who just ate these whole foods, relying on that for adequate levels of B12. And then they compared that with a specific vegan group combined with supplementation of B12. And they compared that with a group of just specific whole foods omnivores for a comparison or for a control. And they found that the vegan group without supplementation, all means were within the tolerance for transcobalamin, homocysteine were normal, except for elevated levels of methylmalonic acid and diminished vitamin D. This group developed significantly higher vitamin D2 levels due to the mushrooms and the nori consumption. Although the vegan group with B12 supplementation and the vegetarian group showed normal values for all parameters, and all of the groups in this study did meet sufficient levels of vitamin B12. Although the B12 levels were significantly higher in the vegan group, that did also supplement for B12, and those levels were significantly higher than the omnivore group who did not also supplement B12. So the conclusion and the bottom line here, the take-home message is for if you are planning a vegan or any other lifestyle, you need to always, B12 is extremely crucial, it's extremely important, and for cognitive health, low levels of B12 is associated with cardiovascular disease, stroke, dementia, as well as brain atrophy. And so So it is highly crucial for everyone to make sure they have adequate B12 levels, and the most accurate, just testing blood serum levels of B12 is not actually a very accurate level, a very accurate measure or metric of determining your B12 levels. The most accurate measure is an MMA test, or testing for methylmalonic acid, as well as for homocysteine levels. So those are the two most accurate measures or metrics for testing your B12 levels. So if you are concerned about vitamin B12 deficiency, if you are not supplementing, which everyone, as far as being a vegan, you need to be supplementing a good B12 supplement, either cyanocobalamin, adenosylcobalamin, or methylcobalamin. Any one of those. Cyanocobalamin is most often recommended because it is the most stable form of B12. Methylcobalamin is recommended because I believe, or cyanocobalamin is also the cheapest. And yes, it is binded with a cyanide molecule, although, small amounts of cyanide, such as found in apple seeds and certain things like that, are not a concern whatsoever, and can, in many ways, are actually somewhat beneficial at very small microdoses. But so I digress. So the point is that everyone needs to make sure that you are supplementing with a good B12 level, and you are not intaking any forms of B12 analogues. And I'll link you guys to a good source. Of information about B12 analogues. Comes from Jack Norrid, registered dietitian, who is vastly knowledgeable in all of these subjects and has covered huge articles about that. Big articles about what everyone needs to know about vitamin B12, what every vegan needs to know about vitamin B12, how the best ways to get adequate amounts of B12, symptoms of B12 deficiency, homocysteine connection, testing your B12 status, and basically all of this. Let's see, I think he covers or links to the analogues of B12, which actually block vitamin B12 utilization and absorption. So you want to always avoid these B12 analogues. I don't think there's a link to that in here. I could have sworn, oh yeah, here's the analogues link. And if you guys want, I will link just this short little post on my Patreon page, including these links from Jack Norrid, or I can just link, I'll just link Jack Norris's published papers with all the studies about B12 analogues and how to make sure you're getting enough. I know he had a little animation, simple animated graphic that shows what sources are analogues, what to avoid, and what sources are active forms of B12. But yeah, the active forms of B12, to summarize, are, again, as I mentioned, methylcobalamin, adenosylcobalamin, and cyanocobalamin. So those are what any vegan should be supplementing with. I use simply just a sublingual B12 spray, because the sublingual B12 spray is more readily absorbed into the mucous membranes. Some people, like Vegan Gains, Richard, his channel Vegan Gains, he chooses to do just direct B12 injections once a month because it's far less frequent, and he just makes sure that he's topped up that way, because certain people lack intrinsic factor in the stomach, which actually prevents B12 utilization, B12 absorption, but yeah, so certain people do lack that intrinsic factor, and it's also, as you age, certain people tend to lose their ability to utilize B12 because of the intrinsic factor in the stomach. So these are all issues that are of major concern and that do need to be addressed for anyone, not just vegans. The B12 issue it's a human issue. It's not just a vegan issue, because large percentages of the human population, whether they're vegan or omnivore, are also have been found to be significantly B12 deficient. So it is important for everyone to get proper testing for B12 levels, or to just make sure that you are supplementing with a good active form of B12 frequently and often to get your daily recommended amount of B12, which is very small. It's only 20 micrograms, which is extremely minuscule. And in the dosages that you will get from any B12 supplements, such as 500 to 1,000 micrograms, is more than sufficient. You are getting thousands of times your daily recommended intake, which does translate into those small amounts of B12 being utilized in the body as being more than adequate, as again you can measure by methylmalonic acid or homocysteine levels. So that is what everyone should do. Just a heads up on that. So thanks, and y'all have a good one.